Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. And today we are putting on our indie film cap and we are talking about the Sundance Film Festival coming up. And I go every year because I live here in Utah, and it's always a lot of fun, a lot of fun movies. And we're gonna go through a bunch of the ones that I have on my schedule, and it's very exciting. I have with me Will from FilmSnobReviews. Will, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
What's up, dudes? I'm excited to be here. I love Sundance Film Festival, even though it doesn't love us back. They just pick and choose when they want us to be there. But I love the
Yeah.
festival overall. I wish process to get there wasn't so much a vetting process as it is a hey, you've been here before, you know what to do. Come on
Yeah.
back. But it's not like that. And
Yeah, it's true. I wasn't accepted as press either, and I don't know why. You think that they would want to support the one of the only female film critics in Utah, uh, and I covered and I felt like my contribution was pretty meaningful. Like I interviewed all of the animators 2 years in a row, even all the shorts animators, and I thought that was meaningful. But I guess they disagree.
I
Oh
mean,
well.
listen, you can literally make the trailer of a movie that you saw at that festival, and they'll still say no, thank you, because it happened at
Yeah.
2020. We got quoted in a movie and ended up coming out in 2021, and then when we
Right.
applied in 2021, it meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But I am glad that I got the locals pass this year. I don't even it makes the whole experience so much better. I highly recommend it. If you're in Utah, if you're from Utah, get the locals pass. It is expensive, but for the quality of the experience is just so much better because with the locals pass, you can go to any screening you want in Salt Lake. You just go right up to the front of the line, boom, you're in. And what's nice about that makes the experience so much better in two ways. First, you don't have to wait in the lines, you don't have to be there like an hour early, you don't and so that's much nicer. Plus, you can fit in more screenings because you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to be there an hour early. You can just, as long as you're 15 minutes before. So that's nice. But also, you don't have to know like 2 months in advance, what you don't have to try to guess what might be good. You can just, if you hear something that morning and say, oh, this is really good, then you can just go. So it just makes the whole experience way better. I highly recommend it if people are listening and you can get the locals pass. It is by far the best way to fast.
I will say two things though. If you get the other thing that I don't like is there's two different press passes. There's working press and then there's regular press.
Right.
The regular press pass, you don't have to be there an hour early. You just walk in like 15 minutes before, get in that line, which is much shorter. That working
Mm.
press pass though it's all work for sure.
Yeah, and I heard that one is just practically worthless, just not
Yeah, we
very
got it our
good.
first year in 2019 or 2018, one of those two, and it
Yeah.
wasn't great. So we asked for the upgrade. And of course, being a Latin critic, I pulled that card for sure. It's like
Hey.
you don't want me to be there. I mean, I'm only the only brown guys there. Whatever.
Yeah.
But you got to use what you got.
Yeah.
Uh, and and the other thing I would recommend is if you're not getting that local pass, go to the fest anyway, because one of the cool things about going as press for you get invited to all the parties. And the industry parties are a lot of fun because you get to see
Uh-huh.
people you've never imagined completely crap faced, just absolutely wasted. Uh and just out of their minds. It's so
Yeah.
fun. It's so
I
fun. Like,
I've never done the stargazing. I've never done the celebrity part of it. Usually I don't even go to Park City. I just stick to Salt Lake. But yeah, it's I'm sure it's an experience.
so yeah, I got some stories for you. We'll get to all those. But
Well, but
Park
since it's
City's
your first
wild.
time on the show, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about
Sure.
what you do,
Sure.
your
So yeah,
show.
I run FilmSnobReviews.com with my cohorts, Nicholas Ripley, who's going to be on the ground in Park City for us this year. Shay Simone, who's my co-host of the Snobcast. We do a podcast every month. We pick a topic, this month, for example, we're doing kaiju movies, talking about big
Oh,
giant monsters.
fun.
And each one of us picks 3 movies to talk about. We talk about that, and then there's always a secret second topic that I haven't told anybody. Don't tell them, but what we're going to be talking about, our secret this month is going to be, since it is going to be award season, we're going to talk about what our favorite film of the year was before our top
Oh,
10 of the year comes out. That way you guys can kind of get a teaser for what that is going to look
cool.
like.
Cool.
We review movies, usually like 300 a year. Uh, we do all that. A lot of interviews. We have a bunch of those on our YouTube channel, which I hope you guys will definitely subscribe to. And we also have a partnership with Ewan Gaming Chairs. I see you're sitting in an Ewan Gaming Chair now. And if you buy an Ewan Gaming Chair from our website, you get 25% off, and those suckers are $300. So getting 25% off is a big, big thing. Make sure you use our code at the checkout. Honestly, we've been doing this a long time. The first film I ever reviewed was a Facebook note that I did way back when Scott Pilgrim came out,
Oh, wow.
and so we've been
Nice.
doing this a long time, and we just keep chugging, keep doing our thing. We enjoy doing it, and it's so fun.
Yeah. Well, what is your experience with Sundance? How many times have you
Like
been? What are some of your
five,
you've
yeah,
had?
like
Yeah.
five, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, first year we got working press. Last couple times we've gotten regular press passes.
That's
2020,
nice.
obviously we
You're
had
lucky.
2021. Obviously 2021 we had to do the online experience,
Mm-hmm.
which I will give them this. It was pretty good in 2021.
It really was. It was
It
very
was
well done.
it was not the best experience that I've had with an online film festival. I still think Tribeca is the best one.
Oh yeah.
Theirs was bar none amazing. You could just go on the app, pick a movie. It was there. There was no time limits. Last year, that was a
Mm-hmm.
big thing, was the time limits. I missed
Mm.
a bunch of stuff I wanted to see because I missed the time limit, or I'd have to watch it at like 1 in the morning, even though I had to go back to work at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, it was nice though with Sundance how they that first year digital how they integrated the panels and different things. They really tried. I remember even my friend Kristen got a like virtual reality headset and thing. Like they really tried to make it like as immersive as possible. That year to give you the full experience. I thought that was very impressive that they the way they integrated panels and commentary and things like that.
That stuff is always fun, but nothing beats being on the ground in Park City
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
being in a
Uh
theater.
yeah. Well, as a festival, what do you think sets Sundance apart from some of the other
Uh,
ones?
it's cold as shit.
Yeah, fair.
Like you go to South by, it's in Austin, beautiful weather. The only
Mm-hmm.
other festival where it's like cold as balls is Toronto. That's the only other festival. Because even New
Mm-hmm.
York Film Festival is in October, so it's not
But yeah,
as cold.
Toronto's September, so it wouldn't be
It's not
that cold,
that
would it?
cold. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that cold. But all these other ones, they're all in nice places. Like south of France, Austin,
Yeah.
Texas, all these nice
Right.
places. New York City in May. They're like nice places.
Yeah, but I would say also I do think that Sundance gets a pretty high quality level of film. That sometimes it feels like some of the festivals I've been to are getting kind of Sundance sloppy seconds. That I think maybe because it is the first in the year and it's just so well renowned, that they tend to have a really good selection.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's at the beginning of the year, and so all these films that want that awards push or want that buy push, especially the buy push, they're it's at the beginning of the year. It gives that company a whole year to buy the film, figure out how to market it. Perfect example is 2 years ago, the film that won all the awards was Coda. Where did it end the next
Yeah,
year?
it's
As the
true.
winner for Best Picture.
Yeah,
And so that happens quite often. I mean, if you look at it, one of the films that won an award in 2020 was Palm Springs, which Hulu bought at that
yeah,
festival, and Hulu ended up making all their money back streaming that film
that
on
was a
Hulu.
good one. I liked
Great
that
film,
movie. Yeah.
yeah, great film, and I'll never forget that screening. Scott Mance came out of the screening and he looks at me and he says, "You got to go see this movie. You're gonna love it," because he knows I'm a big romantic comedy guy, and I'm like, "Well, okay, I'll get in line for the next screen." He's like, "You're not gonna be disappointed. Just trust me on this." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I get in the line for the next screening. I'm like, "Shay, we're going to go see," my co-host. I'm like, "We're gonna go see Palm Springs." She's like, "I don't want to see that." I'm like, "We're going anyway." So we get in. She's like, "That was amazing. I'm so glad I went." And 2020 was such a weird year for us as far as like that festival goes, because her favorite movie and my favorite movie were completely diametrically different.
Mm-hmm.
But we made each other go see it. So we saw those movies twice. She
Uh,
saw it first, said she loved it. I saw mine, said I loved it, and then we swapped and saw them together.
oh, what
And
was
they
that?
were
What was her favorite?
Black Bear from 2020.
Uh,
We actually got quoted in that trailer. If you watch that trailer on Hulu or whatever streaming, where her quote is in the trailer, and it's an
nice.
incredibly weird movie. But it's
Yeah, I remember.
very
I
much
didn't
her.
see it, but I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
Those are her vibes, 100% weirdo. That's her. That's her right there. That's her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually there ends up being a couple movies at Sundance in my top 15 that I don't this year is kind of an exception, but I really loved a little documentary called Step
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of years ago. I thought that was so well done. I just loved that film. I really loved Blinded by the Light. That's a favorite recent. I thought that was so well
I,
done.
I'm a big fan of the John Carney films, and that felt like a John Carney
Mm,
film.
it did. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his Floor and Son, I thought it was going to be one of my favorite of the year. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't, it didn't end up that high, but I did like it.
It doesn't have as many songs that are just like they don't grab you as much as like Begin Again or
Yeah.
Sing Street do, or even
Agreed.
Once. There is that
I
one
think
song,
because
Meet in the
it's
Middle.
hip hop and I'm not as like into hip hop, but it was as compared to his other music. But it was perfect. I said that it was it felt like a COVID movie, you know, a lot of it done over Zoom and stuff like that. And for that kind of movie, I think it was very, very good and very sweet. But yeah, it just didn't end up being one of my favorites of the year. But yeah, Sing Street I absolutely love. I love Love and Friendship. That was a favorite. Yeah, so a lot of my favorites of the year end up being from Sundance.
Yeah, and that happened that year too. I think Black Bear was on our list for 2020, but so was my favorite film of the year, which of that festival, which was Dinner in America. I'm a
Oh
punk.
yeah.
I'm a punk rocker. I love punk rock movies. That movie's punk rock. I said it in my review. It is literally punk rock AF. That's what I said, and it
Yeah.
is. And that movie's on Hulu right now, guys. You can check it out
Yeah.
right now if you have
The
not.
other
It's
the
amazing.
other good thing I think about Sundance is it kind of teaches you as a critic, as a film critic, to like remove some of the preciousness that we of independent films, the way we treat them is like, oh, you can't criticize them, you can't, you know, you can't because people worked so hard on them and everything like that. Whereas like you go to Sundance and you realize quickly like some of these movies are absolutely terrible.
I'm looking at you, wounds,
Yeah,
wounds.
I'll never forget. There was a movie, I think it was 2021, so this was a virtual, about a tree. Is just the tree movie. And I thought it was going to be like an interesting documentary about these people that like collect exotic trees. I was like, that sounds kind of interesting. No, it was literally about the tree. You just watched a tree for you're just watching this tree. I was like,
I don't
what?
understand that. I don't understand
Yeah.
this. Like,
So
like
that's to me like the ultimate Sundance movie. It's the tree
I,
movie.
I think you're onto something there because I think that the way I think that when a lot of independent directors get critiqued, they take it personally.
Yeah.
Because we did have that happen in 2020 where we critiqued a movie that everybody else was just on their teat about how great it was, and we thought it was just okay.
Right.
That director lashed out at us on social media,
Yeah.
stating like, "You
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. You're a hack." Dude, we
Oh,
gave you a C plus, and I wanted to give you an F just for being a dick.
right. Yeah,
Like,
I mean, and I'm sure it's hard when you have put your heart and soul into something to it, I'm sure it's tough like to hear that criticism,
well, the
but
worst thing was it was a female director, and we're all for
mm,
female empowerment and
yeah,
female directed
yeah,
films, but not when you're being an asshole.
right. Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics Panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a patron. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for family movie night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Let's dive in. So what we're going to do for this, the rest of this episode is I'm going to go through my current schedule, and things could change. I might not end up seeing all of these. I might hear of something good that I, change things around. But this is my current schedule. I think I have 23 films currently on the schedule, and we'll go over some of the ones that you have as well. And give our excitement rating. So 1 to 4, how 1 to 4, how excited we are for the movie. And so this should be fun. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. First one that I have on the 19th, I have Girls State. This is a documentary by Amanda McBain, and it follows 500 adolescent girls from all across Missouri as they come together for a week-long immersion in a sophisticated democratic laboratory where they organize a Supreme Court to consider the most contentious issues of the day. And this is after I think the same people did Boys State, which was a similar idea.
Yeah, it was the
boys.
exact same idea, and it came out 2020 at Sundance, and I cried. It's a beautiful documentary.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be interesting, especially to compare the two. And sometimes the documentaries are my favorite at Sundance.
Yeah,
they really good.
They bring the sizzle with the documentaries. I can't wait to talk about the ones on my list. There's always some great ones. Like they did the one on the Ren and Stimpy creator, John Kay, Happy Happy Joy Joy. They did one on the Pepe the Frog becoming a alt-right symbol.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was called,
and the Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers doc. That was so good.
Not a dry eye in the house on that one. Holy shit. What a great documentary.
It really was.
Not a dry eye in the house, including mine.
So what do you give us 1 to 4?
I'd give that one a 3 because I loved Boys State immensely, and I can't wait to see what they do with the adolescent girls because it's a different dynamic. Young boys and young girls, they have a different dynamic. They're competitive in different ways, so I can't wait to see how they do it. And it's in Missouri instead of Texas, so that'll also be interesting.
Yeah. All right. The next I have Freaky Tales. I'll see this on the 20th. It's directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who did that movie with Ryan Gosling, and then they did Captain Marvel. And then it's stars Pedro Pascal, Ben Mendelsohn, Angus MacLeod, and it's 4 interconnected stories set in 1987 Oakland, California. Will tell about the love of music, movies, people, places, and memories beyond our knowable universe. I think this is pretty hyped up, this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Mississippi Grind, which is the movie you're talking about. Big fan of that movie. I loved it. I thought him and Ben Mendelsohn were fantastic, and Ben Mendelsohn's in this film too. But so is Angus Cloud, rest in peace, from Euphoria.
Yeah.
I am so psyched for this movie because I'm a native Californian. I don't live there now, but I'm a native Californian. I was born in 1987, so I'm old. I was around in the 90s in California. It's not a place you want to be, and to see those stories and to hear this is going to be fantastic. And of course, Pedro Pascal's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't be hyped. This is a 4 for me. I think it's going to be just fun to see all these different shorts and different stories and how they connect and everything.
Yeah, this is going to be a 4. This looks like Babel meets the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm all about it. Nick is scheduled to see this one on the 24th or 25th. He's scheduled on the back end to see this one. So
yeah. All right. So then we have Between the Temples, and this also on the 20th.
This is the first one that's on my list too.
Okay, good. This is director and writer Nathan Silver, and it stars Jason Schwartzman and Carol Kane. A cantor in a crisis of faith finds his world turned upside down when his grade school music teacher re-enters his life as his new adult bat mitzvah student.
I love that.
So yeah, it sounds good. It's not. Do you think it's gonna be a romance?
I
Like
don't think it's necessarily going to be a romance. I think it's going to be
because
more
I
of
mean that
a.
would be a big. You're talking like
I'm okay
big
with
age
that though.
difference there.
I'm okay with that because they do this all the time. If it were the opposite, they do it all the time.
Yeah, that's
But
true. That's
I don't
true.
think they have to. I think you could really just talk about, he as a
Hmm.
younger Jewish man can talk to her about what it's like to grow up Jewish. And
Yeah.
since she seems like she's new to the Jewish faith, she could talk about her life before.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna give this a 3. I think it looks. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5. I don't like half scores, but it looks really good. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I love Jason Schwartzman. Our co-host, who's an actual doctor, Gina, is in love with Jason Schwartzman. So she will be so happy that
There
I
you go.
mentioned this movie on the podcast, and then I mentioned Jason Schwartzman, her love, and she loves her brother too, Robert, who we've
Yeah.
met a few
Yeah.
times.
So then we have Agent of Happiness. This is documentary. Director Irun I'm sorry if I butcher people's names. I apologize. Arun Batari and Dorata Zubo. Amber, a Bhutanese government agent, travels the Himalayas surveying people's happiness. On his remote mountain journey, he searches for fulfillment. I think it sounds kind of
What
fun.
an
It sounds
Yeah,
cute.
what an interesting documentary. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting.
It
It's
sounds
not on my
very
list,
like
but it looks interesting.
uncynical for Sundance. What?
Yeah, I was just gonna
Happiness.
say it seems a bit too happy, and that's weird. And I love that because sometimes you just need that,
Yeah.
Because some of the documentaries I chose are super like depressing and dark and
Yeah,
can't wait to get to them.
exactly.
But
It'll be a
like
nice
I
one for
love that.
that day in the middle. I'm gonna give it a 2, but I think it sounds cute. Give
Cool
it.
like that.
What would you give it?
Uh, that's like a 2. That's like a
Yeah,
2.
yeah. All right. And then last that day will be Thelma. And
Oh,
this
hell
is
yes.
director Josh Margolin, stars June Squibb, Richard Roundtree. 93-year-old Thelma Post gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson. She sets out on a treacherous quest across the city to reclaim what was taken from her.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Grammy getting revenge. Let's
Yeah.
go. I love June Squibb.
Yeah,
She's
she's
so
fun.
cool, man. She's always so fun. Like I love her so much. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see Grandma take her vengeance out. And if you look at the poster, the little image, she's in her rascal scooter for 2. And Richard Roundtree is in the scooter with her. And it's so cute and adorable. And I want to see this movie. I love old people. So
Yeah.
old people getting scammed, I hate that. And so I can't wait to
Yeah.
see like scammer get their, June Squibb's foot stuck up their butt. This
Yeah.
looks so dope. I can't wait for this movie.
What
It's on
you
my
give
list
it?
too.
We go.
Oh, this is a 4 for me. I love this
Yeah.
movie. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see this thing.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. Yeah. All right. Then on the 21st, I have Love Me scheduled. And this is Sam and Andy Zakuro, directors and writing. It stars Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun. And uh, the IMDb, it just says a love story between a satellite and a buoy. And I was like, what does that mean? And so it says the longer summary on the festival site says that it's long after humanity's extinction, a buoy and a satellite meet online and fall in love. As filmmakers, Sam and Andy demonstrate in their widely imaginative debut feature telling the love story of a smart buoy and an orbiting satellite that spans 1 billion years and probes the mysteries of being consciousness and requires legit storytelling dexterity. I still don't really understand what the heck that means, that one's a satellite and one's a buoy, but I feel like this is such a great combination of Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun. That
Yeah.
alone makes me excited, but I still don't really understand it.
So yeah, you've got me at Stephen Yeun. That's my dude. When he shows up at Sundance, he shows up. I mean, Minari,
Yeah.
come on. The guy shows up.
Yeah.
And Kristen Stewart has 2 films
I
at the
feel like they'll
festival.
have good chemistry. I
Yeah,
think that they'll be good together.
I agree. She has 2 films at the festival this year.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about the other one because I saw your list.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be like Wall-E in real life though. Like one of them is a buoy, but they're the personification of the buoy. One of them's a satellite, and it's the personification of a satellite.
Yeah.
And really, it's just like inanimate love, but taking place between these 2
I mean,
exotically
if it didn't have this pairing, I would probably give it like a 1 because that just sounds a little too, I don't know, too abstract for my taste. But I do really think that they're going to be good. So I'm going to give it a like 2.5. But we'll see. It's going to be very interesting.
As mentioned, we like weird crap at FilmSnobReviews.com.
Exactly.
It's three, it's solid 3. I mean, we saw the death of Dick Long at Sundance, and but everybody else was walking out of that thing, and we were like, "Let's do it again, Daniels. Let's go." Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Dick Johnson is dead. That one was a really good documentary.
Weird.
And that was
Yeah.
one of my favorite. Dick Johnson is dead. It was the Kirsten, the director, her Kirsten Johnson, her dad. That was one of the best panels I've ever. She was so good at like answering questions and really just like selling her movie. She was very good. But okay. So then next I have Presence. This is Steven Soderbergh, writer David Cope, stars Lucy Liu and Julia Fox, showcases a suburban house inhabited by a mysterious entity. I'm not that big of a horror person, scary person, but I just think it's going to be one of the big talked about projects of the festival. This one, so we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, it's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park. He wrote Jurassic Park, David Cope.
Oh yeah,
and the guy who directed Traffic, making a movie together with Lucy Liu. I'm in.
Yeah,
I love Julia Fox. We interviewed Julia Fox for something she produced late last year. Wonderful young lady.
Mm-hmm. And I think she's the lead. I think Lucy Liu's like supporting.
I'm in. I'm cool. Yeah. I love Julia Fox, so I'm in.
This. I'll give it a 3.
Yeah, 2.5 for me because I'm not a big horror guy. I know Shay will probably eat this up, but it's not. I'm not too. But I'm in. I would love to see this.
Next, we have Sasquatch Sunset, and this director and writer David Zellner, director Nathan Zellner, and it stars Riley Keough, Jesse Eisenberg, and Nathan Zellner. And it's a year in the life of a unique family. It captures the daily life of the Sasquatch with a level of detail and rigor that is simply unforgettable. It sounds a little boring to me, but I think it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to give this one a 2, but we'll see.
So the Zellner brothers are hit or miss for me. Kumiko, the treasure hunter, is incredible. Damsel was a miss for me. I can't wait to see what they do here because they're such weird dudes, and they have an almost Daniels quality to them, but without a lot of the polish.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Because brother director, you never know what's going to happen. I do like the combination of Riley Keough and Jesse Eisenberg. Again, Jesse Eisenberg has 2 movies in this festival. Mm-hmm. We are going to talk about the other one because it's on my list. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It just seems weird. Daily life of a Sasquatch. What?
Why? Yeah, it just sounds a little boring to me, but yeah, we'll see. All right, and then I have
it's a 2 for me, by the way.
Oh, okay. Then next, we'll talk about Love Lies Bleeding. This is director and writer Rose Glass and Weronika Tuliska. And it's Anna Baryshnikov and Kristen Stewart, Dave Franco, a romance fueled by ego, desire, and the American dream. And I have not seen Saint Maud, which I know is like a huge hype up film. But I know that Rose Glass got a ton of hype from that. So I need to see it. But yeah, this is definitely one of the hyped films of the festival.
Well, yeah, it's A24. Rose Glass, Saint Maud is incredible. It's a great horror film. And then, Anna Baryshnikov is a muscle mommy, so I'm there.
Yeah.
I love muscle mommies.
So I give this, I'm going to give it a 3 just because I haven't seen Saint Maud, but I'm excited about it.
A 3 only because it comes out a short time. It comes out in March, so it's a short time after it debuts.
That's true.
So
Well, I
Three.
mean, that's a downside to current Sundance is that it has been kind of co-opted by Netflix and Amazon and some of these things where it used to be the whole thing of like I'm going to watch a movie that someone made out of their van, like kind of a thing is harder and harder to find those things at Sundance. And a lot of times like I was so annoyed the year I didn't get the locals pass. I bought what was called the Grand Pass, and they aren't even doing any movies at the Grand this year, which is weird. But I had the Grand Pass, and as part of that pass, you got 10 tickets to screenings. I was so annoyed because they used 2 out of those 10 tickets for the Taylor Swift documentary, twice, and that premiered on Netflix that week.
Mhm.
Like,
So
what? I was so
I'm glad you
mad.
mentioned that because Incredibly Vile debuted at Sundance and it came out on Netflix the next day.
Yes, that was another one. I hated that movie, but yeah,
Me too.
absolutely.
We watched it in the hotel room and we were like, yeah, we're glad we didn't see this live. This thing sucks. It's fine.
It was
This
terrible.
though, this looks great. I mean, it's like a romance. It looks like a modern day Bonnie
Yeah,
and Clyde, except they're both
yeah,
Bonnie.
exactly.
Anna Baryshnikov is, her like gaining muscle mass as the movie goes on. It looks like based on the trailer. I saw the trailer
Mm-hmm.
during a screening of Iron Claw, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it
That
looks
makes
great.
sense. Yeah. All right. So then we have Exhibiting Forgiveness. And this is writer, director Titus Kaffar. It's Andre Holland and Andra Day. A Black artist on the path to success is derailed by an unexpected visit from his estranged father, a recovering addict desperate to reconcile. Together, they struggle and learn that forgetting might be a greater challenge than forgiving. I mean, it sounds intense, but I think it'll be well done. Good actors, so yeah.
Yeah, Anjanae Ellis Taylor, who's in the new Anna DuVernay movie, is in this.
Mm-hmm.
I love Andra Day. I think she's an incredible singer. I can't wait to see what she does acting. And Andre Holland is an underrated actor. I mean, anybody who's seen Moonlight will tell you this guy's incredible. So I
Yeah,
can't wait to see this. It's not on the front burner for me, but it's definitely on the side burner for me. This one.
yeah. I'd give it a 3, but I think it'll be well done. I think it'll be hopefully more moving than depressing. But yeah, I think it'll probably be pretty intense.
I think,
Intense.
yeah, I think Titus Kapar as the first time director is going to bring it, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
wait to see what he does.
Yeah,
Because I always love seeing especially new Black filmmakers, because their stories don't get told as often, or that lens isn't as always as shined on. So I love to watch what their stories. I mean, a few years ago, The Last Black Man in San Francisco came out, and that was
yeah.
absolutely dope. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
wait to see what this looks like. I can't wait to talk about some other films later on that shine a light on a
Yeah.
more subject matter more close to my heart.
Mm.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're 2 judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
Coast, and this is writer-director Laura Chin. It stars Nico Parker, Laura Linney, Woody Harrelson. From debut feature film writer-director Laura Chin, a semi-autobiographical coming-of-age story about a young woman dealing with her brother's serious illness. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good. I mean, Laura Linney, I feel like she's just like disappeared. All I see her is doing the introductions to Masterpiece on PBS. But I'm excited to see her back at Sundance. And
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's Woody Harrelson too. Like he has a thing about him. He'll do one where he wanted to do it because he loved the material, and then he'll do one where he loved the money.
Right. Yeah.
And
But even in those ones where he is more of a money thing, he still gives it as like, I mean, he's in those like in the Apes movie.
yeah, but I'm talking about more like the Man from Toronto type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give this a 3. Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
And
And
it
then
looks great.
we have Rob Peace, and this is director, writer, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and stars him and Camelia Cabello. The
Camilla
story of
Cabello.
the story of an inner city New York kid who attends Yale, yet ultimately succumbs to harsh economic realities and the demons of his past. And I don't know if this is Chiwetel's first writing and directing project, but I'm intrigued to see what he has to offer in that
Listen,
role.
he's an incredibly. It's not his first direct. He directed The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind a few years ago.
Oh,
So,
okay, cool.
it's not his first, but I can't wait to see Camila Cabello, who is a pop star in this movie. You may have heard her song Havana from a few years ago. And I can't wait to see her in this movie because I also know the lead character's mom's played by Mary J. Blige, who is actually a really good actress as well. I know Chiwetel's going to bring this. This looks really good, and I cannot wait to see what he does here. This is, again, a light that doesn't get shined on enough. Like, inner city kid just trying to get past the economic hurdles that the world has given him from birth. It's really good. I like this.
Yeah. All right, next we have Handling the Undead. This is, and I am not, I this is a hard name. I apologize. I'm director Thea Heavenstall. It's this. She's the one who did The Worst Person in the World. On a hot summer day in Oslo, the dead mysteriously awaken, and three families are thrown into chaos when their deceased loved ones come back to them. Who are they, and what do they want? Yeah, it sounds interesting.
It's Norwegian, so it's going to be weird, and I can't wait to see what happens because the Norwegians tend to make weird crap that I just end up really liking. So, yeah, this looks great. This looks really fun, but like not fun at all.
Right.
Like horrific.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But it looks like a horror film. And it says a hot summer day in Oslo, but anytime I think of Oslo, Norway, I immediately think of a whiteout blizzard. So
yeah, so I'd give it a 3.
2.5. I'm not a horror guy. I'm just not a horror.
Yeah, I'm not too much of a horror person either. The Line of the Brothers, and this is 3 members of an extended Afghan family start their lives over in Iran as refugees, unaware they face decades-long struggle ahead to be at home. So I think that sounds intriguing, like a pretty good documentary.
Yeah. Let me try this here. Raha Amir Fazal.
Oh, you did it. Good.
Yeah. And then Ali Reza Gazima, there's the other director there. This looks great, but sad. It's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sad.
It's not a documentary, it's a drama.
Yeah, it's gonna be depressing. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yes. So I'll give this one 2.5.
Solid 2. I can't wait to be depressed watching this.
Okay, then we have The Mogai, and this is director writer John Bell. There's Bella Heathcote. A young Aboriginal couple brings home their second baby, which to be a joyous time takes a sinister turn as the baby's mother starts seeing a malevolent spirit she is convinced is trying to take her baby. So that sounds pretty intense.
That sounds super intense. I don't know how I feel about this. It's based on a short that he did. And anytime you take a horror movie and make it into a longer form, it goes really badly or decently well.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 2, but hope it'll be good. 2 for you too. All right, and so it begins. This is Ramona S. Diaz. Amid Filipino elections, grassroots movement emerges to protect truth and democracy from growing threats. People unite in joyful acts of resistance, kindling hope when autocracy expands. Sounds like a pretty good documentary.
Yeah, this is Filipinos, the Philippines' answer to the AOC docs that we got at Sundance, because this is their liberation from Duterte's reign of terror in the Philippines, and I can't. It's going to be so interesting to me to watch this because I don't know, East Asian politics at all.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to learn a little bit. I like documentaries that are going to teach you something.
Yeah,
and that's what this is going to do.
They're going to teach you something, but hopefully be fair and not propaganda.
Yeah, that's always difficult when you're dealing with political docs. Though it's always hard to not come off propaganda. Yeah,
it's really tough. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2, but I think it'll be good.
2. but again, it's probably going to be great.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have A Real Pain, and this is writer-director Jesse Eisenberg. It stars Kieran Culkin, Jennifer Grey, Jesse Eisenberg. Two cousins travel to Poland after their grandmother's death to see where they came from and end up joining a Holocaust tour. So what do you think about this?
This was the first movie on my list. Give it to me now. Kieran Culkin's doing movies. Jesse Eisenberg is with him. That's going to be neurotic and weird because they're both very neurotic and weird. I want to see this movie, and I believe this is the second time. Yes, the second time Jesse's behind the camera. I did not like his movie from last year's Sundance.
That's my concern. I really didn't like When You Finish Saving the World.
Thank you.
Really thought it was
pretentious crap.
Yeah. And if you had a male character doing what Julianne Moore's character does, the way she's basically grooming that kid, it would be, you wouldn't be able to release it. I mean, it was creepy. And
they did have that in a movie last year as well. It was called Palm Trees and Power Lines.
Oh,
and I hated it with every fiber of my being.
But I mean, and her character was just gross. And then I thought that the kid, her son, was just like not believable at all. As
Finn Wolfhard was the worst version of that.
It's like what people think being a YouTuber is like, but it's totally not. And so that does sort of temper my writer-director Jesse Eisenberg enthusiasm a little bit. But it sounds fun. Sounds cute, and great cast. I love Jennifer Grey. That's fun to see her back at Sundance, and Kieran's very talented. So I mean, I'm gonna give it a 2.5, but I hope it'll be one of the good ones.
Tentative 3. It would have been 3.5 had I not realized he was directing it. And then I was looking this up yesterday. I saw he was directing it. It went down to a 3 because sketchy. Also, Will Sharp is in this, and I love Will Sharp. He was in White Lotus as well.
Oh, okay.
He's extraordinarily talented. His ex-wife is actually the gal who plays the female Loki in Loki.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So talented family there. A Real Pain looks great. Finn Wolfhard is the worst version of what that character's supposed to be, by the way, in whatever that freaking movie was called. I hated that movie so much.
It was really bad. Okay. So then we have 10 Lives, and this is I think the only animated film at the festival this year, aside from the shorts. And it's director Christopher Jenkins, and it's a pampered cat takes for granted the lucky hand he has been dealt after he is rescued and loved by Rose, a kind-hearted and passionate student. When he loses his 9th life, fate steps in to set him on a transformative journey. And I have to say, there hasn't been the best track record with the animated films at Sundance. There was like Maurice last year, which was fine. And I don't know, there just hasn't been any. I'm a huge animation person, but there hasn't been any animated films out of Sundance that I've loved. I mean, I guess there was I think Don Hertzfeldt, I think maybe one of his World of Tomorrow was Sundance, but I don't know. I just haven't loved the feature film animated films that we've gotten. But it sounds cute. It looks cute. It's kind of surprising that there's no like stars in the voice cast. You kind of expect these days. So maybe it'll have some independent charm because you don't need that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. But I always look forward to animation.
Well, I will say a couple things. Zayn Malik from One Direction is one of the voices, and then Bill Nighy's in it too. And
is he?
Okay, great. But Christopher Jenkins has a long history as an animator with Disney. He was animation supervisor for Hercules. He was on Beauty and the Beast. He actually produced a bunch of stuff for DreamWorks, like Home and stuff. So he has an extensive history around animation. So that the film has that going for it. That said, I'm still going to go with the 2.
Yeah. Okay, then there's Luther Never Too Much, and this is about Luther Vandross, and they always have these, celeb biodocs, and some of them are better than others. You've got like last year was Still, and then there was the Brooke Shields one. The Brooke Shields one, I kind of wish that it had just been half because it ended up being, it was like 2 parts, and the first part was way more interesting than the second part. The second part, it was like her trying to sell her website, and it was just not as good as the first part. But usually these are, I don't know anything about Luther Vandross, and usually these are fine.
Yeah, you look at something like Mucho Mucho Amor from a few years ago. Even last year, Meet Me in the Bathroom was a great one, music doc that was sort of shining a light. Then they also did the Rick James one as well from a few years ago.
Yeah, or really Little Richard was last year too.
Exactly, yeah. Even the I Love Lucy one, which Amy Poehler directed,
that was
quite good too. So they usually get these right, and I don't know that much about Luther Vandross because I don't listen to gospel music. I just don't. But it should be interesting. I feel like, again, it's a documentary where we're going to learn something that we didn't know before.
Yeah,
and that's always the best kind of documentary, as long as we can learn something.
Yeah, so I'll give it a 2. But okay, then we have, speaking of documentaries, we have Superman, the Christopher Reeves story, and this is Reeves' rise to becoming a film star follows with a near fatal horse riding accident in 1995, left him paralyzed from the neck down, after which he became an activist for spinal cord injury treatments and disability rights. I think this has a big chance to be sort of the Fred Rogers documentary, that kind of thing. I think it's going to be real sweet.
There's not going to be a dry eye in the friggin' house for this one. If I see this, I'll probably cry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 3, but I think it'll be good.
3. Not my most anticipated documentary. We'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely a 3. I can't wait to see it. It looks sad. Again, I like being depressed at Sundance because it's already snowing, so why not?
Depressed. Okay. So then we have Hitman, and this already was it. This was it, like Venice and Cannes. It's all those other. This is one of the premieres that has been everywhere already. And it's writer director Richard Linklater, one of my faves.
One of my absolute faves. I love Richard Linklater.
Starring Glenn Powell, a professor moonlighting as a hitman of sorts for his city police department, descends into dangerous, dubious territory when he finds himself attracted to a woman who enlists his services. I've heard nothing but great things about this. I love Glenn Powell, and I love Richard Linklater. This is an easy 4.
Yeah, Glenn Powell is a charisma magnet. I love him so much. And then Adria Arjona, who's in this movie, is a fantastic and absolutely gorgeous actress. So no wonder he falls in love with her. She was in Morbius, 6 Underground, and also she was in a bunch of other stuff too. Father of the Bride from last year, which I didn't like.
I like that, actually. I did. Yeah,
she's a beautiful woman. And then Retta is also in this from Parks and Rec and Good Girls.
Yeah.
And, dude, I love Richard Linklater. If you tell me he's directing a movie, I will go see it 14 times.
Yeah. The only thing that becomes hard sometimes at the festival is a movie like this, is going to get a wider release, and that you're going to like it's always tough to you want to use the festival to see stuff that you probably won't get to see other places. That's the only thing about movies like this. But you also don't want, because a lot of times those movies that aren't going to be seen other places are terrible. So you want to balance it out, your festival experience, with some stuff that's pretty much been already screened. It's already, it's going to be good. It's already had all of the, or it'll be like, even if you don't love it, it'll be like, won't be awful. And I don't know. I feel like that's the only tricky thing about Sundance, is sort of balancing out the premieres that have already been everywhere and that you're going to be able to see later on, with like the more unique, quirky, exclusive stuff.
Well, then there's also this third dynamic when you're coming as press, is what do you want to cover? What's going to get you coverage as well?
That's
because
true.
You're not there just for them to, let you in. You're there to get your name out there and to have people see your writing and what you think of the film.
That's a good point.
So you have to balance that too. And something like this, like Hitman, they're probably not going to use your quote in the trailer. They're going to use Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Ebert.com, RogerEbert.com.
Yeah.
So going to something like, and this is what we balanced with like Blackbird. We weren't expecting anything because it didn't have any distro rights yet. We went and saw the movie, loved it, wrote our review, and then we're like, hey, we want to use it. I was like, go ahead. I don't care what you do. Same thing with Kajillionaire. They used our quote in Cajillionaire. And
Yeah.
we're like, go ahead, we don't care, whatever. So you have to
Yeah.
balance that.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
But it's Linklater, so 4.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
We have The Outrun, and this is director-writer Nora Feinscheidt. And this stars Saoirse Ronan, and it's after living life on the edge in London, Rona attempts to come to terms with her troubled past. She returns to the wild beauty of Scotland's Orkney Islands, where she grew up, hoping to heal, and because it's based on a memoir. It sounds kind of generic, but I love Saoirse Ronan, and so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Yeah, it's a 3, just because I did see Nora Feinsteidt's previous movie, The Unforgivables, which with Sandra Bullock, which was okay. But this 3 is mainly because Saoirse Ronan is an incredible actress, and she's going to Scotland. So let's have some fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, so that's the ones I have currently on my schedule. Which ones do you have some other ones you want to talk about?
Oh, I do. Yes.
All right.
Let's start.
Let's do it.
Let's start with In the Summers. We're gonna start there. So In the Summers is an incredible movie coming out, directed by Alessandra Loscaraso Samudio. It's on a journey that spans the formative years of their lives. 2 sisters navigate their loving but volatile father during their yearly summer visit to his home in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It has Sasha Calle in it, who played Supergirl this year. Residente, who's a hip hop artist out of Mexico, as well as Leslie Grace, who you may have recognized from In the Heights, and she was supposed to play Batgirl.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I like her. Yeah.
Yes, she's great. This director, he comes from they come from an editing background, she does, and I cannot wait to see this because it's a story that I can familiarize myself with, being Latino and growing up in the Southwest and in the West Coast. And my dad being, Hispanic, and although he lived with me his whole life, it's always difficult dealing with a Hispanic dad. Every single time you talk to him, it's like talking to a wall. And I know what these girls are going to be going through, and I look forward to seeing that journey. It's also only 95 minutes long, so
that's nice.
Quick watch. Runtimes are a big thing for me. If your movie is too damn long, I'm looking at you, Scorsese. If your movie's too long, I don't care.
Okay. I have that's playing at the same time as Raw Piece. So I'll have to decide which one. Maybe I'll wait and hear what has the better buzz people are talking about.
Yeah, you can always do that. And I recommend, just making your own decision on that, going with your gut, of course.
That sounds pretty good though.
It's gonna be great.
What are you giving it? Are you gonna give a 4?
It's a 3.5. I can't wait. I love these kind of stories. I saw Las Hijas last year at South by, and it didn't disappoint me either.
They have an online options. Maybe I'll that's one I'll buy. Okay. Let me write that down.
I have a few here, so
let's do it.
Hope you're comfy.
Yep.
The next one, the director debuted his debut feature, which was based on a short in the 2020 Sundance Film Festival. Esteban Arango. His film was called Blast Beat, which was about Colombian immigrants who are learning to live in the United States and are having a hard time. His new movie debuts here at 2024 Sundance Film Festival, and it's called Pony Boy. Unfolding over the course of Valentine's Day in New Jersey, a young intersex sex worker must run from the mob after a drug deal goes sideways, forcing him to confront his past. This has Dylan O'Brien in it.
Oh.
And the writer, River Gallo, They are in this film as well. They play the titular character Pony Boy. I look forward to
Oh my
seeing this
gosh,
movie.
everything that you're picking is on the 24th at night. This is also at the same time as the In the
Listen,
Summers and Rob Peace.
I don't worry about the schedule. I worry about what I want to see. You know what I mean? I figure
It's
out
just
the
all at the
logistics.
same time. It's just random that all the but it's also available online, so I can purchase that one.
As mentioned, though, I don't have plans. I don't plan things out. They just sort of happen. And then we go from there. This movie looks awesome. Esteban Arango has such a great eye for storytelling, and he tells stories about what he knows, which is living life in the United States as someone not from it. So he's an outsider's perspective. And in this case, River Gallo wrote the film. They star as Pony Boy, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that story. It does debut on the 20th at Sundance, but that's a Park City showing.
Yeah,
I personally can't wait to see this, and I'm very, very excited.
Very cool.
I have these broken down. I have these broken down by category. So those were my U.S. dramatic picks.
Okay.
Now we're going to talk about U.S. documentary, and the big one for me, one of the big ones for me is Frida.
Yeah, I had that on my list. There was something else that ended up I can't remember, but there was something else that I had the same time. But yeah.
Listen, as growing up as a Latino man, you learn a lot about art and culture growing up. And one of the artists that they point to as a person that really created Mexican American, I'm Salvadoran, but Mexican American imagery as far as painting in the United States in popular culture is Frida Kahlo.
Right.
And her life is not a life of joy. It is a life of sadness. It is a life of depression. It is a life of abuse. And it's going to be very, very raw to look at her and to see her journey and what she went through as a woman trying to do this thing that was primarily seen as a man's occupation and as being a painter, while also having to deal with the fact that her husband was a piece of garbage.
Right. Yeah,
And
I think that'll be good. That'll be a good documentary.
This looks more like the Lucy documentary, but like way more depressing.
Yeah, so you're gonna give a 3?
Yeah, so it's 3.5 because the director of RBG did this, and I don't know if you saw RBG.
That was good.
Same director, so I know Carla Gutierrez, so I know it's going to be fantastic. 3.5 for me. I love Frida Kahlo. Can't wait to get to know her a little bit better as a person, and that's always what's fun. The next one I picked, yes.
Yeah, I give that a 3. I think it looks good.
That's what I like. I mean, I'll take a 3. I mean, I'll take that. So the next one I have is called As We Speak. And a Bronx rapper artist, Kemba, explores the growing weaponization of rap lyrics in the United States, criminal justice system, and abroad, revealing how law enforcement has quietly used artistic creation as evidence in criminal cases for decades. And it has a lot of like hip hop artists, including Bun B and Killer Mike from Run the Jewels. I'm not a big hip hop guy, but I love music documentaries, as evidenced by one the documentary I'm most excited about, which we'll get to here later. But
I will see this on the 23rd. I will see this. Yeah, but it should be pretty good.
Yeah, I have it as a 3 just because it's such an interesting and intriguing subject matter, and you don't really see that too often. So
yeah. So what do you have next?
I have this one's gonna be fun. Okay, so I have Brief History of a Family. And this one, I believe, is Chinese and it's directed by Zhang Jilin. In post one-child policy China, a middle-class family takes in their only son's mysterious new friend. This triggers buried family tension as secrets and feelings surface, testing the bonds and expectations, holding the family together. So obviously it's a Chinese film. This looks weird and it looks suspenseful and it looks intriguing to me.
What's it called?
Brief History of a Family.
Yeah, it looks like it's the same time as Sasquatch Sunset, so I might have to decide between those. That's always hard about the festival.
Yes, but the cool thing is, and since we do Park City most of the time, they do second and third runs, so
Mm-hmm.
we usually catch them there. That
Yeah.
usually helps us out a ton to cover like 30 movies in one festival.
Right.
So that helps us out a ton.
And that one
I have
is
that one.
available online. They still, I mean, they did a pretty good job this season of making, because a lot of the other festivals have turned away from online, and it's not as much as it was obviously in 2021 or 2022, but they still have quite a few that you can purchase online, which is nice.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, man, that's cool. I think that's cool. I just don't understand the logistics of saying to somebody we don't have enough online tickets available. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
What? How do
why
you
did they
know
do
that?
That's weird.
Like, how do you know that? Like, how do you judge how many online tickets you have? It's online.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a physical seat I need to sit in. I don't know. I'm ranting about this.
All right, what's your next?
And so the next one is called Reinas, which is Spanish for queens. It's two teenage sisters are about to leave their country forever when they unexpectedly reconnect with an absent father. This relationship will both amplify and ease their pain of change. It's a Peruvian film, also Dutch film, directed by Claudia Reineck Candolero. And I cannot wait to see this. It reminds me a lot of the film I saw last year, Las Hijas, which was about two daughters. Reinas, Reinas, Reinas. And that is how you pronounce that.
Reines?
Nas.
Oh, AS.
It's Espanol. We don't use these at the end of words.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I missed this one too. Let's see.
So I may not prepare very hard, but I don't miss details. Which is weird because it's like you don't prepare, but you don't miss stuff either. I don't understand how my brain works, but you know.
Well, let's
whatever.
see. So this is, let's see, it's at the same time as the Moo Guy. So it looks like I'll have to pick between that.
I will say this as well. I will say this. I usually tend to pick films that are made by Latin directors or women directors because I think both of those things are important.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Cool.
what I mean?
Yeah, and this one's also available online. So
yes, yeah, a lot of the world cinema ones are. And in fact, my next pick I believe is also available online. This one, the Reinas is a solid 3 for me, by the way.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, what do you have next?
Sebastian. Max, a 25-year-old aspiring writer living in London, begins a double life as a sex worker in order to research his debut novel. It's directed by Miko Michaela, and it's in French and English, and it really looks like a great examination of the lengths you go to achieve your dream and the lengths you have to go to in order to explore yourself as a person as well. I'm always all about those self-exploratory films. That's why I liked Poor Things so much. It was very much a self-exploratory film.
Ultimate self-exploratory.
Yeah. And I really feel like this is going to have Yorgos vibes. And I'm all about the Yorgos vibes. This looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see what they do with it because here's the thing. It being a dual production in French and English means that we're probably going to get some very interesting stuff. It reminds me a little bit of Passages that came out last year in 2023. I don't know if you saw that.
But yeah, I heard about it. Yeah.
That's one of the films no one's talking about from last year that I think is so good. So
cool.
This one's called Sebastian. Check
it out. What do you have next?
I'm giving Sebastian a 3. I wanted to knock this one out because it's the only one I have left in Spotlight because we talked about the Hitman already. And this one is called How to Have Sex.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, that is the title. I really feel like this is going to be like Palm Trees and Power Lines, where I go in thinking this is going to be great, and then I'm just sickened by it. 3 British teenage girls go on a rite of passage holiday, drinking, clubbing, and hooking up in what should be the best summer of their lives. This looks like it's going to be fun. Molly Manning Walker directs it. I did like her previous film that she wrote. Good, thanks you. She was also the cinematographer in Scrapper, which I believe played at Sundance last year.
Oh, yeah.
So she's done it all. She's been behind the camera. She's written. she does everything, and I really love it when people do that. She also wrote this film. I really feel like if you're going to make a female coming of age movie, it usually helps if it's written and directed by a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it says here that there is excessive, severe alcohol and drug use. So count me in.
Yeah.
Count me
Very
in.
good. Very good.
This is a 3.5 for me. Let's go. So, Little Death has Jenna Malone, David Schwimmer, and Gabby Hoffman in it. And it's a very small movie. And it's about a middle-aged filmmaker on the verge of a breakthrough, two kids in search of their lost backpack, and a small dog on their way home. Carl Glausman, a friend of ours, is also in this movie. Talia Ryder, Fred Mellamond. This entire cast hits from top to bottom. And I cannot wait to see what happens. Jack Burgart does it, and it looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see this movie.
It's another movie on the 21st at 9 o'clock. Every movie.
Solid 4. Yep, solid 4.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. That'll be intriguing.
The very last one I wanted to touch on is a documentary, and it's the documentary I am most excited about, because the one thing I go to Sundance for is the music documentaries, whether it be the Go-Go's, not the Taylor Swift one, because F that movie, right off. But this one's called Devo, and I can't wait because I love Devo, and it's directed by Chris Smith. Yeah, it's directed by Chris Smith, who was on the Firefest doc. He was an executive producer on Tiger King. He has a very high familiarity with documentary filmmaking. And he did the Fire doc, and he also did Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, the exploration of Jim Carrey becoming Andy Kaufman, which came out a few years ago.
Oh.
So anybody's going to be able to explore the weird and wacky world of Whip It that is Devo. It's going to be Chris Smith. And Mark Mothersbaugh had something to say about it because he was the lead singer of Devo. People don't know that. Mark Mothersbaugh, a very famous composer for movies, all kinds of movies. But he was the lead singer of Devo, and I just can't wait to see this because they started out as this like small weird band from Ohio and became this like new wave breath of fresh air in response to the 1970s Kent State shooting.
Famous for the hats that they wear.
Yes, they're literally human robots. So that's actually one of the titles of their album. It is not a human, it is Devo. And so I can't wait to see this movie. I am very excited about it. I love when they do pop culture docs because they do them really well.
I'll be able to see this one. It's at I'll be able to see it after I see Hitman.
Yeah, see, and I had a bunch of other, but you said to wrap it up, so I'm wrapping it up.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. So Devo. Yes, I will be able to. I'm going to sign up for that. Yay. Okay, cool.
I love Devo, so I don't know if you know anything about Devo, but you'll learn.
Yeah, very good. Well, we covered a ton of movies, so hopefully people will have gotten a good preview of the variety. And I mean, I think we talked about over 30 movies. So hopefully people have gotten a good idea of what's available at Sundance Film Festival. I mean, a ton of the ones we talked about are available to purchase online. So if you're not in Park City or Salt Lake, then you can still participate in the festival. So I definitely encourage people to do so. And thank you so much for doing this. This was really fun to get to know you and to get to talk about Sundance. And I really appreciate it. I think it would be fun if we do a little post recap of what we think of what we saw. That would be fun.
That would be fun. You're also welcome to come on our podcast at anytime. I'm sure.
Let's do it.
I'm sure Shay would love to have you on.
Yes.
We'll schedule that either February or March because we have our January one fully stocked and ready to rock. And the cool thing is you get to pick the topic when you're the guest.
All right, let's do it.
You can do whatever you want. No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I look forward to all the movies. There's always weird and wonderful films that play at Sundance Film Festival. And the weirdest and most wonderful character of all at Sundance is the city of Park City and the state of Ohio, Utah in general. Bunch of weirdos on the slopes, just misbehaving and drinking too much and then going skiing and hurting themselves.
It's quite the scene. It really is. It's a fun time. So let us know if you're listening what you have seen at Sundance and enjoyed and what you're looking forward to. We'd love to hear your excitement level for a bunch of these and put in the comments or on Twitter. And where do people find all the things that you do?
I'm so glad you asked. You can find us on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, Instagram, and Facebook at Film Snob Reviews. With the Facebook, you got to look up the .com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, or YouTube at Film Snob Reviews. Just I think you have to put a space between Film Snob and Reviews. I don't know. YouTube's weird.
Yeah.
You can find us on there. Our top
Cool.
10 films of the year will be out soon. Bunch of
good.
interviews. We'll probably have some interviews from Sundance on there. Whatever Nick decides he wants to do, you lazy garbage man. Love him. Just depends. Follow us everywhere. We need subscribers. Come subscribe. We also have a Patreon. You can give us money. Please do. We love money. Also, buy the UN gaming chair. They're very comfortable. I have a big yellow one and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are really good. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure that you're checking out the Hallmarkies podcast. Got lots of ton of content going over there. And you can, if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews to both of our podcasts. That really helps a lot. And if you're watching YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. We also have I have my Patreon group and a merch store. Get lots of fun designs. Check that out. And thanks so much. It was great to meet you. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.
5 stars on there. Do it.
5 stars.